craziness.
Hey, everybody.
My heart's beating fast.
Aw.
I'm nervous.
Welcome to On Air with Applebox, the go-to online resource for the event professional looking to gain technical knowledge and creative inspiration for the events of tomorrow.
A place where you can come and watch me have a really high heart rate, apparently.
So, we're your amazing hosts, Joseph and Taylor Estes. We are
Lovely and talented.
a husband and wife team. We are, yes. Oh, how nice is that? Oh no, he's got sound effects, people.
Oh, yeah, we got sound effects.
This could go awry quickly.
Likely.
So we are event production enthusiasts. We are uber nerds with a high-tech toolbox. And we have been talking about doing this web series show, I don't know, since we created our business, which is 10 years ago.
That's true.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we're so excited about this, but listen, we do not want to do this without you. So I need people in the LinkedIn live chat. You can follow us on Twitter.
Hold on. I got to find that
You
button.
have a button for
I
that.
do.
Follow Applebox. We can bring those comments live on screen
Sure
from
can.
Twitter and from YouTube. Can't bring them live from LinkedIn right now, but we
Yet.
can read those
We'll get
comments. So what is this going to be about, Joseph? What are we
Yeah,
doing? What are we doing with our
some
lives?
stuff. We're gonna do some of this stuff.
Yes. So every show we're going to really try and be pretty consistent with the segments that we're doing. And this episode, generally speaking, is going to be kind of with the theme of all things hybrid. I know that's a big buzzword for our industry right now, but we really want to kind of dive into some particular topics around hybrid. And our first segment is every time going to be producer's perspective. So we're also going to be doing, okay, yeah, let's just do that.
Want to do it?
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Let's go straight into producer's perspective. This portion of the show, we discuss tips, tricks, and tools of the trade, all from a producer's perspective to help bridge the gap between event technologists like us and the rest of the world, right? So what are we going to be talking about? All things hybrid venue considerations. We want to be doing some of the obvious stuff like internet, site surveys, and also hope to kind of unleash some of the maybe less obvious.
Creative, fun stuff you can do.
Yes. But we have a production-centric, technical, really non-meeting planner perspective on a lot of this. So we thought that that is something that we would dig into together today. So,
All the
my
things.
gosh, all the things. And I really just made this graphic to help us stay,
Somewhat on task.
somewhat on task with what we're supposed to be talking about. But let's take it straight into internet.
Cool.
So when you're booking a venue for hybrid, internet obviously is top of mind. And we can just immediately say hardwired, dedicated internet, where you're not sharing bandwidth with other people at the hotel, right?
Yeah. I think a good way to think about this is to separate your internet considerations into buckets or categories.
Yes.
Obviously we've got the internet for attendees, which we're used to thinking about that. We've got the internet for production, which we're typically used to thinking about. That line in particular, yes, we're going to be angry or frustrated if we don't have a way to be hardline.
Definitely.
For depending on the context, but certainly in a hybrid context.
Also, like pre-hybrid, I feel like most of the emphasis was put on download speed, right?
Sure.
For like attendee, Wi-Fi,
It's still a factor.
mobile app, of course, but now upload speeds are also something that people need to be considering.
Definitely.
Confirm or deny.
Of course.
He's my in-house technologist. I just come up with creative ideas,
Nerd.
and then he's the one that actually makes them viable for our clients. So I always pass my tech questions over to him.
Yeah,
But generally speaking, upload matters. There's actually a cool tool for this online that I found.
link is in the description box.
Yes, and this is super cool. I love the way, this is on Encore's website actually, and we've used this ourselves. And I love how they break it down into buckets here by the amount of usage you're going to have for your attendees, if you have that hybrid video element. Also, I think something that isn't considered enough is breakout presenters. So,
Oh, yeah. Especially now.
yeah, number of concurrent sessions that are going to be running and what you're going to be doing in those breakout rooms, right? So
it's like we are always preaching about, if you begin with the end in mind, back to your last graphic, it's like you've got to be thinking about what that breakout session, what all of your content is going to be prior to booking that venue, because once it's booked, if their infrastructure is not sophisticated enough or up to the requirements of your show, you're obviously going to have issues.
And I feel like if people are trying to produce hybrid meetings, these breakouts are really like an event within an event now.
Sure.
And one actual cost-saving strategy that we've been talking with our clients as they are planning hybrid meetings this year is you don't have to build out every breakout room with
the most produced,
the best production technology. Like if you, again, begin with the end in mind and maybe plan to have 2 that are capturing really awesome, high quality footage that you're going to upload for on-demand use for your maybe online attendees to be able to see those later on in that asynchronous format. That's the word that's getting kind of thrown around the industry a lot right now. Yeah, I mean, the cost-saving strategy is just don't build out all 6 breakout rooms, all 40 breakout rooms, however big your event is, with that technology. Maybe come up with some type of traveling rotational methodology so that you only have to build that infrastructure out.
Yeah, and also like varying your breakouts for different learning types, is probably a topic for another day.
We're totally off of internet, but I'm here for
probably
it.
Probably a topic for another day, or you want to go back to some of our
no, that's awesome.
broader considerations. Yeah, I mean, different learning types. Hybrid is awesome for touching all your different learning types.
Huge.
Some people like me that are more introverted and have heart palpitations when they have to go interact with other people or
go live when we're the ones normally behind the scenes.
Yeah, exactly.
I basically convinced him to do this, guys.
This is torture, but no, it's going to be awesome. This episode's awesome already, and it's going to be awesome in the future. Yeah, it's great.
Is anybody watching? Yes, actually. Hey, everybody. Oh, God. Oh, no. He has sound effects, people. All right, back to the buckets. So attendees, hybrid video elements, the breakout, and in those breakouts, a factor is like if you're going to be bringing in remote presenters to those locations, if you're going to be streaming that out, maybe to Zooms, Teams, your online virtual venue, whatever the case may be, those are all factors. And this online calculator actually helps you think through all that.
It's really handy.
Another bucket, staff and office, basically event management team needs.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's typically considered. And I think all of this stuff is at this point top of mind for most people who are, in the industry and pros, sure. Right? But I mean, I think that Encore did a really good job of putting that particular calculator there because it kind of prompts that thought process of going, okay, well, what are all these varieties of consumption that we need? My advice to anyone who's planning an event is think about that before you sign on the dotted line.
Preach.
Nice segue. Nice segue.
Just, you can bring this awesome graphic back up.
Right here. A little flexible contract action.
A little flexible contract. I love it. So, and this also ties to considering alternate venues, which is another point I really wanted to bring up. As the world is reopening, I feel like some people are still going to be timid of going back to in-person events. I feel like we all had to ask the difficult questions of where the value of our in-person events maybe lied in the first place.
For us, that's obviously like huge. As a production company, there needs to be a case that this particular program is of benefit, and what's the business case for doing it.
I'll be the first one to ask that question. I'll be the first one to ask that question of our clients.
Yeah, sometimes when I'm not wanting you to, I'm like, wait, hold on. This is a fun one. I want to do this one.
Yeah, triple bottom line, people, planet, and profit. So you gotta consider all three. But considering alternate venues, as the world is reopening, and maybe we're doing smaller footprint events, you may not need a giant room block. Like, go look at local venues, go look at theaters, look at some art galleries, look at rooftop venues. Literally, the sky can be the limit. We just did a super fun event at a concert venue here in Atlanta.
Oh, it was a blast.
Atlanta, Georgia. That one, and it turned out awesome.
And the infrastructure there was already specifically built for hybrid.
Yeah.
Like everything that you needed to do a hybrid event was already in place for the most part. I mean, we obviously had to bring in production equipment for video and streaming and so forth, but the audio in there was fantastic. The lighting, which don't even get me preaching about that.
The proscenium arch, it's built in, people. I mean,
it's beautiful.
But live stream concerts have been happening for a while, right? A lot of events have just been maybe a little behind the times.
Yeah, and I mean, streaming isn't necessarily hybrid. Just
completely agree, and I'm evangelical about that, right? It has to have some form of two-way
dialogue.
Yes, two-way engagement for it to be hybrid in our box. Otherwise, it's just a live streamed event.
Which is cool too.
Yes, agreed. Different use cases. So a lot of these alternate venues actually have the flexible contracts, to bring it back to what you were saying, Joseph. And what we really mean by that is like just having the flexibility of bringing in outside partners, like maybe self-serving, but like a production company.
That could just be an audiovisual company that's not in-house.
Yes.
And oftentimes in-house is wonderful. It's like anything. You got to have the right tool for the job. What is the job that you're doing, and is in-house the right answer? Oftentimes, yes. I mean, I can't tell you how many times we've been doing a show and it was like, oh man, we don't have that thing that we need, and the in-house does, or we really need an extra person because we're short-staffed because it's
huge.
We're in a post-pandemic-ish new normal, whatever you want to call it, and labor is difficult.
Crazy, guys. Labor is crazy right now. I feel like our industry specifically, we didn't fill that labor pool and pipeline for like 2 years. So many people, just speaking about here in Atlanta, left the events world for the movies and stuff. So it's crazy out there.
Sorry if I just scratched my mic and it was loud. I apologize.
Professional production. So, oh my gosh, that's a good one. It's a good one, Joseph.
Thanks.
So, yes, flexible contracts, considering alternate venues.
Site survey is probably, in my opinion, one of the most important things on this list, because what I find, this is like an ongoing woe for us and all of our partners that we pull in. It's like, I can't tell you how many times the venue gets booked before we get to go do a site visit.
Yeah.
And while obviously we're still on your team and we're ready to jump in and do what we can to help, it's like a lot of times our hands are tied once that contract is signed. And if we were there for that site visit, we would have caught a lot of things that maybe didn't get considered in that moment when you're shopping with your eyes and you walk into the space and you're like, oh, it's beautiful.
Look at that beautiful chandelier.
Yeah, exactly. And chandeliers are awesome sometimes. Sometimes they're not. Sometimes they fight us really, really hard.
But let's equip people that are watching with what are some of those things that they should be looking out for in the context of hybrid. Like, let's help you think through your site survey through the eyes of a broadcast producer. So ceiling height, right?
Ceiling height, huge.
What's
the rigging capabilities in the space?
Because lighting, people. It's so important.
If we turn this light off right now, everything would look horrible.
Yeah,
it'll look terrible. It's the same way for a live and hybrid event. The lighting is probably the most overlooked factor.
Huge.
Side note, since we're talking about lighting and cameras and stuff, this camera has autofocus on it, and sometimes it loses us.
It needs our eyes.
So
sorry, guys.
If you see it get out of focus or like focus on one of these stickers,
just tell us.
Just let us know.
Start chatting. Hey, you guys, you look terrible. You look super out of focus.
Speaking of, is there any LinkedIn chats?
That's a great question, Joseph. I should be looking at that. Sean, what's up,
What?
Sean? Oh,
Sean.
what a good human. He says more sound effects, please.
More sound
No,
effects?
not more
Hold on
sound
one second.
effects.
I got one for you, bro.
Oh gosh. Ah,
That's for you. I knew you'd like that one. Sean,
wow.
Sean Spacey is in the
He's gonna
chats. He is awesome. They have a company here in Atlanta called Elevate.
gotta use them.
They're so fun.
Way to bring a crowd together and just rally behind the messaging of an event. Like
They're awesome.
they get it right every time. So huge fan. Sean, we're gonna have you on the show for sure.
Yep, we'll get to that. We'll get to that. Yeah.
All right, so considering alternate venues, site surveys, internet, flexible contracts, I feel like we've touched so many. This is awesome. What do I mean with begin with the end in mind? This is something I stress so much over and over. I talk about it in my LinkedIn learning course actually on like how to create virtual events.
Link in the description.
Hey, I guess that was my own little plug. Look at that.
Oh, and YouTube. Did you put it in the?
We'll put it on there.
Yeah, we'll put it in there.
So I think it's important to even go to your site survey and begin with the end in mind. That means how many breakouts you're going to be having, obviously, but also have just the framework of your general run of shows so that you can start thinking through some of those maybe less frequented thoughts about food and beverage service. Like, where are those going to be entering the room?
Is it going to be interfering with your camera shots? Is the clinking going to be noisy? Yeah. Here's another one back to lighting. Does the house lighting have dimming capability so that
we're
when you're
dealing
ready,
with this in a venue next week for an event.
when you want to play a video and you want the house lights to go dark, can they?
Yep.
Or does somebody have to run over to the wall and push 5 different buttons and hopefully they go off at the same time?
Huge.
Good question, Joseph. Glad I asked it.
Also, I wrote, it takes a village. What do I mean by that? No, I don't mean it takes a video village, although it definitely
It
will.
does.
And you need to consider your footprint for your production. You need
CAD
to
drawings?
consider if you're going to have multiple camera angles, that means multiple camera risers likely, which is going to reduce the footprint of your actually space for the attendees, the tables, all that kind of thing.
Yeah, that's a big one for the site visit.
Yes.
Are you factoring for production in your room count? Because when it says 1,500 people in theater, that means 1,500 people with no stage.
Yeah.
As I'm sure most of us know this by now, but
Yes. But
CAD
what
drawings.
I do mean by it takes a village is just early on when you're beginning with the end in mind, bring all of your stakeholders to the table for hybrid. I feel like that's going to be some people in your organization or corporation that you may not be used to engaging until virtual happen, like IT departments and stuff like that. So just bring everybody to the table.
Yep, absolutely. I think IT is going to be one of the biggest stakeholders in events moving forward. If you're going to have them on speed dial, and they might not like you for that, but
Yep.
just get used to it.
And last, quality control. I think that unfortunately, we all stepped up our game in terms of production quality, really, truly during COVID and these virtual events because they needed to look really nice, and we all started to figure that out. But I think as we go back to having in person, we can't all just immediately default back to what hybrid meant in 2017, which was just maybe a camera in the back of the room, capturing the sound of clinking plates and the audience, and you cannot really go back to that anymore. I think quality is going to be something that your attendees online expect and demand. Otherwise, their attention span is just going to be put somewhere else.
Yeah, and I mean, if you're having the ROI conversation, it's like, which I'm sure we'll get into.
Future episode.
Go watch Taylor's LinkedIn live course.
I talk all about it.
If you want more information on that. Shameless plug.
Yeah.
Shameless plug.
We need a button
We
for
do
that.
need a shameless plug button. Yeah. Yeah, no, if you're thinking about ROI, you can't be planning for hybrid as an afterthought. It's got to be, if you're factoring it into your value proposition,
Yeah.
it's got to be part of the initial planning process. So all these things are going to come into consideration as you work through that. It's like anything. I was telling Taylor, we were kind of planning for this episode, I was visualizing that GIF of the crazy guy from It's Always Sunny in
Beautiful Mind?
No, It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia,
Oh,
where he's like going crazy and pointing to the chart with all the the web of possible connected problems that are going to pop up. This is a really rambly story. Sorry. This is why I don't talk. I
he'll,
push the buttons. I'm pulling this away from you. You don't get the cricket control anymore. Yeah, like the crazy conspiracy theorist guy. It's like that for this graphic in particular. There's just so many interconnected considerations when you're planning hybrid that were always a factor, but are just even more critical to get right now than they ever were before. So,
and I'm going to use my girl Dahlia. Shout out to Dahlia. Her phrase that she uses, which is brain width. I think that was Dahlia. It's just got to be considered as we are all going back to the next normal in our lives. Like,
we're all ready to be in person. We want that.
Yeah.
But for your online folks who are going to experience it that way,
quality matters.
Quality matters.
All right. I think we could talk about that all day long, but why don't we move on to our next segment, which I affectionately call, in case you missed it, oh gosh, that is quite the transition you have there, Joseph.
I think what you're trying to say is that was...
Oh no.
Fire.
That was some cheesy news. Yeah, okay. Well, we're live, so we're going with it.
If there's anything we learned from 2 years of a pandemic, it's that everyone loves a live stream and everyone loves things that remind them of the news.
Thank you for that, Joseph. Thank you for
see.
that. All right.
Wait. Crickets.
So this segment in today's event tech, tools and trends are all evolving at such a rapid pace that it's hard to stay on top of it all. So each episode, we'd like to feature a headline, a partner, a tool, or a story that we think should be on your radar. So today, we're going to be talking about Kudo. Diversity, accessibility, inclusion are all buzzwords in our industry right now for highly merited reasons, and it's long overdue. And I think people need to be putting these conversations into action. They need to be implementing tools in their tech stack on their events like yesterday. And so this, in case you missed it, tool is super robust and capable, and I love it. Kudo is basically a way to stream real-time language interpretation so that everyone can enjoy your event in their own language.
Is this a paid promotion, Taylor?
This is not a paid promotion. I just think Kudo is super cool. So they're an award-winning service that automates finding, booking, and paying interpreters with real-time translations made available for your attendees. They actually have a community of over 12,000 vetted interpreters, and you can book them almost instantly for people that plan things last minute.
That's awesome.
And over 200 spoken languages, which is really cool. So I know they have an awesome app. They integrate directly into Zoom and Microsoft Teams if that's where your online component is taking place. I can speak from personal experience about how awesome the integration is with Hopin, one of the leading online platforms out there.
Amazing platform if you're not using it.
This is where I found out about them, was at a recent Industry Hopin event. I think that they were streaming live with alternative languages in French, Spanish, and American Sign Language. And it was like as simple as it gets in terms of the user experience, how to switch over to those. So
we're not doing that currently.
No, sorry guys.
Sorry.
We should be doing what we're preaching,
there.
right?
We'll get there.
I think their packages are a little tricky to understand. Again, I immediately reached out when I saw Kudo at that event. You basically buy the technology hours as well as the translator hours. So reach out to one of them to kind of get the breakdown of how all that works. My caveat is that I have not used them personally in a hybrid context to this point, but I did talk with the rep and they're fully outfitted for this use. So I think this tool needs to be on your radar for 3 reasons. 1, it really puts accessibility into practice. And 2, I feel like online events have broken down that location barrier, but this helps with the language barrier. And that is a barrier that exists regardless of location. And so I think that's really important in the framework of today's episode of hybrid. So I just think this is something that needs to be the norm at events. Like, what's the metaphor I use on client meetings? Like the vegetarian option for your catering was something that was like kind of special maybe 15 years ago, but now it's just you have a vegetarian option. That is what I really am passionate about, this level of translation accessibility in the future that just needs to be the norm.
We were just having a conversation with a client about this a couple weeks ago. It's like, this is in regards to translation, but this particular event, we had a presenter who was hearing impaired, and we weren't aware of it until the day of the show, which is, it's an oversight. We should have caught it. So luckily we were able to come up with a workable solution. But during the moderated interview with this presenter, it was like, if we had the forethought to put systems in place to accommodate this individual, that would have been the correct way of handling that situation, rather than scrambling to come up with a way to make that person comfortable. So
huge.
Yeah, I mean, we could talk about this in regards to what kind of event are you doing? Because again, I think this is probably a huge factor here, is what is the event? Who are you speaking to? Are we doing something that's internally focused, and now with a global workforce, are we trying to talk to all hands?
Oh, such a good point, Joseph.
I mean, the format of the event really matters. Are we selling to a customer, and is that customer base global? I mean, who doesn't have a global customer base at this point? I mean, that's, if you're trying to consider various language regions, this is such a valuable tool, and they're wonderful people to work with. So,
and labor shortages is, I think, literally existing in every industry across the board right now. So I think that as
global workforces
that's just so good.
Yeah,
and remote workforces as well.
Yeah, that's true too.
Yeah, awesome. So then the third reason that I think Kudo should be on your radar. Do you want to advance to my awesome quote? The best technology never interferes and always delivers something out of reach. So in other words, I think technology extends our ability to change the world, and that's why this tool should be on your radar.
That's good.
Right?
I love it.
Technology.
That's a good quote.
Bring it back up. We should say it again.
Let's repeat that
technology.
One for the people in the back.
Right? The best technology never interferes and always delivers something otherwise out of reach. This is like what Joseph and I get so excited and passionate about.
This is where we get fired up.
This is what technology can do, and I think Kudo is just such a perfect example of that. I mean, you literally have 200 languages at your fingertips, and someone has done all of the work to lay that out for you.
Yeah,
we should be using it.
Absolutely.
Again, not a paid promotion, not an affiliate program.
Although, hey, if you guys want to super chat us, go ahead and.
We also would love to know if there's like a language translation, closed captioning, transcription tool that you guys are using and implementing at your hybrid events that you think should be on our radar. Please let us know. Comments, chat.
Wait. Ready?
All the things. Yep.
Do it.
Like, comment, subscribe.
Look at the placement of that right over the laptop.
Tweet us.
So
all
good.
Those things. We'd love to hear about the tools that you guys have. All right. Let's move on to our next segment, Joseph. What do you say? What's our next one?
What do you say?
VIP. You'd think that would stand for
very important person.
But it doesn't. It stands for Voices in Production. It's important for event professionals to share learnings and insights from our own event experiences to inspire others, maybe save each other some time, help us avoid missed opportunities. So every episode, we are excited to feature an interview with the brightest and best in today's VIP.
We've got some good people that are coming on. It's going to be
it's going to be awesome. This is where the meat of the show is going to be. We want to do less talking, and we want to make this more conversational, reach out to smarter people than us, have you guys on the show. Sean, that's definitely going to be you. Dahlia, I'm thinking of you. Jason Thompson. I've got so many people. Heather Herrig. She's the best. So who is it? It's not going to be anyone today.
Nobody today.
Sorry, guys.
But it could be you.
This is just a giant plug to say, please come join us on the show. And how can they do that?
All right, check it out. If you scan this QR code, it works.
It does. We tested it, we promise.
And if you're not on a mobile device right now, or if you're using your mobile device to stream this, then you can go to the link in the description. It's also down there. I think it's called fill out this form to be a guest or give us some feedback. There's other options in there. It's not just to be a guest. You can just leave us some constructive criticism down there if you want to.
Listen, guys, it's just a Google form. It's not fancy, but we want to hear from you. We want to bring you on the show. It's fancy because it works. It's fancy because it works, and QR codes are cool, right?
They're so hip.
So we were going to bring our lazy dog as our guest, but
he's so lazy.
He totally missed his cue. We got to work on him as a stage dog. He was going to be our very important guest.
Let's see if he comes in.
Come here, pup. Oh, good boy. Work from home live. Yay.
He looks so nervous right now. He's like, why am I here? What are you guys doing?
All right. So since we don't have anyone but Willie here with us, we're going to keep going. We're excited to have people on the show in the future. All right. So let's move to our next segment. What do you say, Joseph?
Let's.
The next one we're going to be calling Daily Dose. Daily Dose is awesome. When talking event and experience design, inspiration should come from anywhere you have felt a sense of connection with other people or you felt motivated to do something differently. So this segment is about highlighting things that have inspired us to think differently about events.
So good. So good.
So to kickstart our first episode, we thought it would be fun to provide just some rapid fire inspiration for your next hybrid event. Some of these we've seen people do. Some of them we've dreamed up.
Pause for the scratching dog.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys can hear that. But... Okay, he's done. Great. Some of these we've seen others use. Some of these ideas we've dreamed up and haven't yet implemented. Most of them we dreamed up and then have used them very successfully on our clients' events. And if you have ideas, drop them in chat, tweet us, all the things, because we want to hear.
Oh, yeah. Hold on one second. Let's remind people.
We want this to be.
That you can tweet us at @followAppleBox.
That's it. We want this to be really about shared learnings and shared experiences. So let's just dive in. What do you say?
Let's do it.
We are all about ideas worth stealing. Totally forgot I had that in there, guys.
Let's put this sound effect in. Ideas
worth stealing. Yes, so we really hope that you guys can use some of these and tell us how they worked at your next hybrid event. Okay, so first one. I am evangelical about user-generated content. And I think this needs to start way before the event ever begins, way before load-in, way before you get on site. You guys need to be implementing this strategy of user-generated or attendee-generated content. I think a few fun ways to do this in the context of hybrid is during the registration, you go ahead and ask for people to submit vocal video submissions. That's another cool tech tool out there. Or they can send in video submissions around questions that they might have for your keynote that you've said is going to be there. Or if you have a particular topic that you're going to be diving into, ask the attendees, celebrate that collective brain wealth, I say, that all of your attendees have that are going to be coming to the event or watching your event live, and give them a chance to share out those learnings or share out those ideas and put them together in some way. I think the questions for the keynote is something that we've implemented the most during our virtual events that we've produced for clients recently.
I mean, essentially, if you know that the topic of a session is going to be X, polling your attendees preemptively with, hey, send us your questions that you got in regards to this particular, session content topic. And then the keynote can not only, modify their presentation to make sure and drive home those critical points that the audience is most interested in, but then, they're essentially prepping themselves for a really productive Q&A experience for the attendees.
And I really think it changes up the method of Q&A for hybrid events that gives the online attendees just as much attention and focus during that Q&A, rather than it being just the questions are submitted through the app or whatnot. Like if people got the chance to literally submit a video of them saying, "Hi, Brene Brown," or "Hi, whoever the keynote is.
Shout out to
this
Brene.
is my question for you," and they get some airtime. Like, what a great way to make everyone feel seen, heard, and part of the event. So,
Yeah, I mean, we talk about this all the time. A big component of events is community, and if you're trying to engage your community, wherever they may be, an ideal event strategy is to have that engagement not just peak, at the moment that the event is happening, but
the bell curve of engagement.
you've got a bell curve where folks are engaged preemptively as you're leading up to this. They're engaged day of, obviously, if everything goes to plan, and then right, and then afterwards, obviously, it's great to keep them engaged with creative content ideas that we'll get into in a little bit.
Yeah.
Anyways.
And to use the word evangelical, I just think it's such a great way and a total missed opportunity if you aren't tapping into your attendees pre-event to go ahead and start capturing some of these ideas, these questions, these pain points to make your event hyper relevant.
Especially for
hybrid.
them.
Yeah, exactly. All right. I could talk all day about that one, but let's keep going.
This is fun.
Backstage pass. This is a really fun idea, and basically the premise is to leverage a roving reporter style, like behind the scenes look of your event. Bonus points if you make this an actual attendee that's doing maybe the interviewing of your...
Gamify it or something.
Yes, double bonus points, Joseph, in my opinion, if the attendee was rewarded this chance or this opportunity during some type of pre-event engagement strategy.
The person who would be most engaged pre-event is probably going to be a great person
to do interviews.
Very
and walk
around and live stream, Facebook live stream your backstage experience, or just kind of give fun sneak peeks into, what it takes to pull it all together.
This is a great sponsorship monetization concept too, like backstage look brought to you by your diamond sponsor, your gold sponsor, platinum sponsor, whatever it is.
Just everybody clean up your cases.
As long as the person doing the interview is fun and is good at it, you can give them maybe some guardrails, things to avoid in their questioning, and that kind of thing.
Don't let me do that.
Don't let Joseph be your backstage roving reporter. Bad idea. But and I say this all the time, this doesn't have to be a high production quality thing. This could literally be someone walking around selfie iPhone style, if that's a minimum viable product that would make you feel like you could try this at your next event.
Yeah, I mean, it's like guerrilla style, engagement. And then too, using it in post-event content can be fun. You'll probably get great bloopers out of this.
Tons of B-roll opportunity. Yeah. If it is a higher quality camera, which at this point our phones are that, you've got some fun B-roll that you could put into an event highlight reel or maybe in a sizzle reel for the event next year. Also, to your point, I think you just talked about on demand. This might be a great thing to make exclusive to your online audience so that they feel like they are getting something special being online that the in-person people may not be getting access to since they are in their seats or they're taking their seats. And then to talk about that, engagement post-event, this might be footage that the people that attended in person might actually go log on to your platform, your learning management system, whatever you're using for that kind of online repository of your content. The people that attended in person really might want to go catch up on some of this after the event. So it really helps with that ongoing community engagement, which is really just such a focus for the industry right now.
Yeah, I could just, to me, seeing a production workroom where you've got people putting swag in bags and printing badges. I mean, it's how it all gets done. And I don't know. I'd be interested in seeing that.
Exactly.
I'd watch it.
All right.
And just like speaker prep rooms. I mean, I'm seeing presenters prepare and refine and just seeing how much work. I mean, gosh, these presenters put so much effort into pulling all this content together. It's like seeing that
It's huge.
get worked out. I'd find that interesting.
All right. I went to the next one. Listen only sessions.
This is the coolest thing ever. We were talking about this before this, and I was like, I love this idea
cool
so
idea,
much.
Taylor. Thanks.
I'm your biggest fan.
If this is, oh, he's my biggest fan. So if you're producing a longer event, which to me is like anything more than 2 hours long at this point, with all of our limited brain width coming out of a pandemic, I really want people to consider producing a podcast, a listen-only session, a walk and talk session to allow people to move around. Maybe literally say for your online audience, this would be a great time to multitask because you're not going to be missing out on any visuals, right? I think this is...
Say that again. It's so good.
Yeah. If you're going to make it a listen-only session, you can literally tell your online attendees, hey, it's okay to multitask in the next 30 minutes because you're not going to be missing out on any visuals. Please go outside. These people look like they're having a very pleasant time.
They look like they're listening to a really compelling session, like an episode of On Air.
On Air with Applebox? I bet that's what they're listening to. You're right. No, but okay, you guys might be asking, like, but how is this, hybrid? And I think it qualifies as bridging the gap between audiences because you're varying the session format type for both attendee types.
And like we were saying earlier, different people learn in different ways.
Yes.
This to me is ideal.
Yeah.
Because I need to be able to work and get done with the things that I've got to get done, but also having a pod on in the background lets me get informed and educated while still being able to do what I need to do. And knowing for sure that I'm not going to miss something that's visually pertinent is going to kind of allow my brain to not prioritize this necessarily, but still be able to catch it. And, obviously this depends. You don't want to do this for every session, clearly. Some stuff you're going to need visuals for. Some stuff you're going to want eyeballs on. Some stuff you're going to want 100% attention for. But
right.
Different learners consume information in different ways, and for me, this would be ideal.
My go-to would be if you have something that's highly motivational, that's going to keep people engaged. It's thought-provoking, but it doesn't require a lot of visuals to back it up. That would be a perfect walk and talk
Brene
session.
Brown. If you were to
Bring back her girl, yes.
If you were to have some podcast that she's recorded that's pertinent to what you're discussing during this event, and you're using that pre-recorded audio as a way to tee up live conversations, and it's just a dialogue between you and the folks in the room and live chat from your remote audience, everyone is listening to that same content at the same time, and then having a conversation around that can purely be driven as an audio-only experience.
Yeah, so I want to revisit what you said and just say it in a different way because I think it's super important. There are huge cost-saving implications to these listen-only sessions, and I was on a client consultation call just last week, and they had this aha moment when we were talking about the particular theme and message for their event, and they kept saying, oh, I wish we could afford XYZ keynote. And I said, well, let's turn it into a walk and talk session where we use something that Keynote has made publicly available, like something on their own podcast, and just carve out time for everyone to go listen to that exact thing. Then you bring people together in workshop format, breakout format, or general session format and have a conversation around key takeaways. Or maybe your leadership team continues to supplement what that podcast was talking about from their own perspective through the lens of your organization.
So many benefits too. I mean, like we were saying, presenters work so hard to develop content for a session. This takes a little bit of that lift off. I mean, if you've got an hour block and this can fill up 30 minutes of it, that's going to help your keynote feel that weight is lifted a little bit.
Huge. So love this one. I really want to know if people are doing it, trying it, having success with it, because I think it just helps with learning styles. It helps with attention spans. It gets people up and moving. There's a focus
Budget
that you can
benefits.
do on health. There's budget benefits. There's just like it checks every box. So
Oh, too, if you think about it, you can use this as pre-event engagement opportunities as well.
yes, Joseph,
Link
you
out.
can.
Go ahead. You were about to take off.
No, you go ahead.
Using it in pre-event communications, almost like, do a little bit of research. Here, check out this 10-minute snippet of a podcast that we're going to be referring to, or, read this chapter of this book. We're all going to have a conversation around this particular topic.
Yeah.
And, again, different learning types, different folks, but your overachievers are going to love this kind of stuff.
What he said.
Yep.
It's awesome. Works great for like early coffee meetups around, hey, these 3 things for our 3-day event. We're going to dive into this book, this podcast, and this whatever.
Totally. I mean, it's an easy networking icebreaker. I mean,
Totally.
the list could go on and
Yeah.
on. So,
And it helps, again, what you said to your point of immersing people in the event, not just when they get on site. So good
creating
for all
the
that.
bell curve of
So,
engagement.
any other kind of rapid fire ideas around bridging the gap for ideas worth stealing for hybrid?
Yeah, this photo actually makes me think of one that we did back to that event that Taylor mentioned from a concert hall here in Atlanta. This was pretty cool. It was so simple to do. We just took a camera that was meant to be one of the 5 cameras that we were using for the stream and racked it way out of focus so you just get a blurred view of the entire room, and then overlaid some graphics on top of it that said, the stream will begin momentarily. That messaging can be whatever you want it to be, but basically tying
Looping sponsor.
the sponsor logo loops, whatever you want it to be, but tying the space, the experience that the in-room people are having back to the folks who are online, just kind of.
And again, this was an idea I came up with that was self-serving in some ways. When I think about me as an online attendee, when I'm viewing a event that's happening somewhere that I'm not a part of, and it stays in this like countdown look, like I want to know what's going on.
Yeah, and
I want to know if people are taking their seats. I want to know if there's a super cool host on stage and something's happening that I don't get to be a part of. I think it literally just drops like the cortisol levels of your online viewers by showing them what's going on and going ahead and breaking down that, barrier that's normally there.
having some kind of music playing, which if you're streaming to a site like YouTube, make sure it's royalty free,
Right.
FYI. I mean, you could do whatever you want, but you might get
Works best.
the
Best practice.
the AI robots might come find you, take your stream down. That's a huge. We probably should have touched on that a little bit. Is some music stuff for hybrid. The countdown is a powerful way of letting folks know about how long till your session starts. Again, having a camera that's showing what's happening in room, just people mulling around. I mean, it could be simple stuff.
Yeah, show the audience. We showed the DJ. Did you mention that? We had a great,
He was awesome.
overhead shot of the DJ. And then it was fun because at the end of the event, everybody came up for a curtain call, all the founders and everything that were part of the event, all the presenters. And it was a great shot just to kind of show the audience, everybody taking pictures and what was going on stage. So just play around with it.
Anything that you can do to make the online folks feel connected to what's happening in the room.
With a unique perspective that the in-person attendees may not be getting access to.
I think we could probably talk for another hour about remote engagement tools, poll everywhere, things like that, ways to engage non-verbally. We could talk for hours about ways to take live questions from remote attendees and what all the factors of that are. I mean, we could just go on and on. That's the thing about it, is back to the crazy conspiracy theory guy. There's so many things that are all connected together. It's just about knowing what you want to do, what you want to accomplish, and then putting a plan in place and having good partners involved that know how to get you from A to B.
Love it.
Yeah.
All right. I think that wraps Daily Dose of Inspiration. I hope that you guys can implement some of those ideas and reach out to us and let us know how it worked for you. What are we doing
Let's do it.
next, Joseph?
How about a little bit of this guy right here?
Do good?
Do good
Let's
stuff.
do good.
He
Do
said
good.
do good stuff.
See good. Be good. So events are stressful. Events are extremely fast-paced. And as the world reopens, we want everyone to remember that kindness is contagious. So every episode, we hope to feature simple stories from the event professional community where someone went out of their way to be good in a person's day or give people just the chance to say thanks to a colleague, a partner, a friend, someone that brightened their day.
Yeah, I think kind of the idea for this segment is like, and if you're in the industry, you know, it's like it is so much work. It's so exhausting. It's so easy to get in that kind of negative headspace.
And pandemic fatigue is a real legitimate thing.
For
Like
sure.
we're all just still exhausted
And it's like we came out of it excited to do live, excited to do hybrid, and then, you know, it's like the old Mike Tyson saying, everyone's got a plan until they get punched. And it's like that. We all kind of collectively got punched by, you name it, the labor shortages, hey, I want to have that carpet delivered in the same kind of timeline that it was before the pandemic. Good luck.
Yeah.
Good luck.
Oh.
So it's like timelines, lead times get pushed way out. But just this was an opportunity for us to say, let's find a way to focus on the happy stuff that can be just random moments and acts of kindness where someone brightened your day. And for me, I mean, that can be anything. It can be that 4 a.m. load-in where somebody walks by and goes, hey, you look tired and there's no coffee service yet, but do you want a cup of coffee? To which I will reply, I'll take two.
We had that happen. It was like the nicest just custodian, for the lack of a better term, that realized we were there so early and like went and started the coffee maker for us. So that was not their job, but that was just like a little act of kindness that went a long way for our team as we were doing a load-in.
There's beautiful people out there doing beautiful stuff.
Yeah. So we want to hear good stories from you guys for this segment. I want this to be, again, something that you participate in. So throw this graphic up on screen, Joseph. This is something we're going to use vocal video for. You can scan the QR code. You can find the link in the description. And we basically just want to air your videos of acknowledgement, or you share your good story. What's that going to look like, Joseph?
What is that going to look like? I'll show you.
When we show them on the show.
It's going to look like this guy who's having a lot of fun.
Yes.
Obviously.
So that needs to be you. We want exciting stories where you're sharing.
I can't help but look at this and not smile.
He's having a great time.
He's having a great time.
All right. So we want to hear from you. We want to hear these awesome stories that can remind people, even though our event industry is so stressful, we can make sure that we are spreading kindness.
Yeah, let's do some right now.
All right, let's do it for this episode. Thank you to everyone that made us look like this. Thanks to Chris Paul.
Chris Paul, awesome director of photography, video shooter, came over and helped me nerd out with lights and get this looking
like this.
Good. My cousin, who's an amazing videographer, his name's Josh. If you guys need a good event videographer, he's wonderful. Kenny Stokes.
Oh, yeah.
My sensei.
We call him our technical sensei.
He's my guru, all things.
Yes.
Could not do business. I couldn't do life without him. I love that man.
Aww.
Yeah. Shout out to Tracy DeWinter for this
Yes,
awesome apple
our
box.
amazing producer. She gave us this apple box. What is an apple box, Joseph?
An apple box is
Something
usually
that helps
larger than this.
prop things up on set. That's why we named our business Apple Box. If we're doing our jobs, we're behind the scenes, holding up your event, but you never know we're there unless
What a clever
you
name.
decide to put it in the shot.
Yeah, it had to be here.
Shameless
Also,
plug.
shout out to Elgato for this stream deck, without which
That really is
life
it.
would be lost.
There is no way for us to do this show where we're normally the techie people behind the scenes, but now we're also the people that are deciding to be presenters, and so Stream Deck made it all possible.
Elgato, if you want to sponsor us.
There is a button for everything that would be potentially a cue on this show, so Stream Deck is awesome for that.
We could probably just keep going with the gratitude for like a full another hour.
Yeah, but
we won't.
people aren't going to watch that.
We won't do it.
All right, guys. So that's our very first episode.
That's
Yay!
crazy. Look at what you said. You were like, I wonder if we can keep it to an hour. 57 minutes so far.
I'm here for it.
You got 3 minutes for this wrap up.
Remember, this is way more fun for us if we do less talking and we hear more from you guys. So be sure to watch for the next episode. We're going to be going live on YouTube and LinkedIn. Make sure you do all those things that graphic says. Follow us on Twitter at @followApplebox. That's where we're going to be having a lot of the conversations when we go live again next time.
And I could pull your chats on live on the fly.
Yes.
Here's a placeholder. It's gonna look like this.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah,
testing 1, 2, 3.
You've never heard that before, have you?
That's so unique, Joseph.
That's something we never say. Hey, why does nobody count to 3 when they say testing? They always say mic test 1, 2. Why do you not count to 3?
They do count to 3.
But you're not supposed to.
Why?
Because you lift on 3. That's
Did
such a
you
dumb
lift
joke.
on 3? Oh, that's like an AV.
That's an AV joke. That was bad. Sorry, we're running over time. Wait, don't.
I was gonna hit a button.
I'll clear this and then I'll push this button. Womp womp.
We hope you've got some tools, tips, and creative inspiration that you can implement on your next event. Remember, we set the stage. You change the world. See you next time on air.
Hold on, before we close out, that little line right there, say it again.
We set the stage, you change the world. That's fire?
It's fire.
I thought you were going to make fun of me for that one.
That was good. That's good. All right, we're out of here.
See you next time on air. That's a wrap.
That's a wrap.
Bye, guys.